memories of the home place. He also wrote it, but they had their sports a little bit different. And so Oakville played Huron on a regular basis, but the referee didn't know that they were cousins. And so I guess they were playing their regular, roughhousing against each other, and the referee stopped the game and didn't care for their behavior and made them shake hands. And Bob said, I think that was the first time I ever shook Jim's hand.
He didn't tell me that part.
Yeah, he also said that they always sat in the kitchen at Aunt Anna's because there wasn't room at the big table, so they sat at the sewing machine. And he said, we just knew we were going to laugh during the prayer. We just knew we were.
They would at that table.
They would sit there very quietly, and pretty soon they'd start to giggle.
Very
Quietly, they would sit there very quietly, and pretty soon one would look at the other, and then they just. That was all.
No, you got something.
What were you saying about John? No, not him.
Oh, it went.
Just one thing about that little table where Rob and Jim sat. We would always find a little rolled up piece of celery there. Jim could not stand celery.
Some of you might know that I did the music and the pictures on the slideshow. And one of the reasons that a couple of those songs were George Jones. One of the reasons that I picked him is because we went to Colorado on a trip one time and he drove us up to his condo in Dillon, which is how long of a drive? A couple hours?
Hour and a half.
And the entire way up and the entire way back, we listened to one cassette tape, and it was George Jones. I'd never heard of George Jones. I was just a little kid. But by the end of that trip, I knew all of those songs. Also, one other thing, maybe some of Ellie's girls, I don't know, did he ever have a nickname for you?
Oh, they had nicknames for all of us.
Yeah, my nickname was Fang. And because I kind of had buck teeth as a kid. So as a little kid, he'd always call me Fang. And I kind of secretly hated it. But he'd call me Fang all the time until one day, and I was a little bit older, he stopped calling me Fang. And then I was kind of crushed that he no longer called me.
Oh, I want to just quickly say something. Just quickly, one thing, as long as we're talking about nicknames. Does anybody know what mine was? Weasel. To this day, when I saw Jim the last time, well, they can hear me. Can you hear me? When I saw Jim at Ozzy's memorial service, what did he say? Hey, Weasel. I'm 77 years old. He called me Weasel. I was thinking about that.
I think he called me Alfalfa.
I remember I drove out to Rockville. My only time that I ever visited out there, our Lance cousins. It was the 4th of July. I think there's a slide picture of it. And I drove out with Mom and Dad, and we met Steve. He flew in from Europe. He flew from Boston or something. He met us there. And Jim decided to fly out. He just thought it'd be fun to join in. And we had a great 4th of July celebration at Frog Hollow. And I believe that's the name of the little community there.
Oh, we're Uncle Henry there.
Yeah. And I remember Cousin Phyllis had several cats. And they were driving Jim crazy. We'd be ready to eat dinner, and there'd be cats running around on the kitchen counter and running across the table, and I thought Jim was going to lose his mind. And then later, after lunch, we settled down in the living room, and Jim, just like that one picture on the slide, Jim kind of settled back, and his mouth fell open, and he was snoring away, having a nap. And one of these big cats came over and sat right on his face. And Jim came flying up off that couch like he was swimming a 50-yard freestyle, and that cat went flying to the side. But I always appreciate how Jim was kept in touch with Ada. I know it meant a lot to Ada that he always was thinking of her and always keeping in touch, and he's done a lot for Mom over the years, and I always really appreciate that. I don't know if Ada has anything to say, but I'll hand the mic over to her anyway.
Yeah, Ada, tell about that.
Oh, Ada.
Just hold it for her.
Tell about that card that he gave you when he was in second grade. He gave you a card in second grade.
A what? Card. A card.
He gave Ada a card in second grade, and the card said, "To the sister I love."
Third grade.
Third grade. Changed this the other day.
I raised him.
You raised him.
You told me you raised him. Yes, I did. I did raise him. That's for sure. Was he a good boy? Was he ornery? No, he was not an ornery child.
Well, now Lois says different. She said he was a scamp.
He was ornery. You were so good.
Tell about that popcorn patch in the recess. Did you know that when Grandma got rid of that raspberry patch, that he had a popcorn patch? Did you remember that?
I remember the popcorn patch.
Oh, you remember the popcorn
Jim
patch?
had a popcorn patch. I don't remember where it was. He wasn't very old, but he actually sold some of it to the neighbors. So he was an entrepreneur like that.
Well, yes, I remember the popcorn patch because we called and Shep didn't come this time. Finally, Mom said, "Look at the popcorn patch." There he was, sitting around playing in the dirt. "Jim, didn't you hear us?" "Yeah, I heard you." He just didn't think it was necessary to answer. But talking about his generosity with his condo, didn't want to pay for it. Well, we did pay for the cleaning, but we were there several times. I'm sure a lot of others were. He was very generous.
Remember, we used to play, was it Monopoly we used to play? And Jim would say, he wouldn't like it if he wasn't winning, you know. I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna quit.
Okay, Kathy, there was one other thing.
And when he played croquet, he liked nothing better than to knock our ball into the bushes.
Listen, I got my competitive spirit from Jim. I sure didn't get it from John and Ruth, either one of them. I probably was 10, and the game of Clue came out after World War II. So I was born in '51, and he brought us for Christmas, as he often did, the game of Clue. We set it up on the kitchen table. He proceeded to beat us bing, bing, bam. We weren't even organized as to the rules yet, and he had figured out. And then he whistled through his teeth. What you think about that? And he would laugh out loud so often. I know. Yep, you're next. You're next. I'm sorry, Lois.
Jim was a senior and I was a freshman because I did anything he said. So he came to me one day and he handed me a yellow lined paper. He said, "Hey, write this paper for me." And not only did it, I purposely tried to mark his handwriting. And so, you know, I really get credit for this. But, you know, for a number of years, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe, we invited Jim to come with our family to Des Moines at Christmas because he really had no family. So he came. And then one time I said, "Well, Jim, maybe we should invite Dorothy." He said, "Oh, you drive her nuts."
I remember, and Ada remembers this, when Joyce and Hank Grimm were there, if anybody knows who they are. They used to work for Earl Steiner, and they would come out and sometimes. So we loved to fish in that little creek down past the corner that turns to Earl. So there's a little creek down there, and we liked to go down there and fish. All we ever caught was just little fish. So anyway, John had just gotten out of the service, my brother. And he had an old rowboat, or somebody had an old rowboat down there, so we were in that boat. And we lost the oarlock. And it was Jim and I don't know if Ed was with us, but I remember and we were scared to death what John was going to say. So we talked Jim into skinny dipping, and he wasn't very old. And, well, okay, he took off his clothes and went underwater. But unbeknownst to him, Ada and somebody was up in the bathroom, saw all this happening.
Story.
First thing we knew, here comes Mom marching down with a big stick. I don't know if we ever found the oarlock or not. Remember that, Ada?